Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers WR had eye-opening spring, but there's a catch. Longtime Pittsburgh Steelers beat reporter Mark Kaboly of The Athletic published a 90-man roster breakdown on July 9, which included the latest on every player. Of note was his blurb about former fourth-round wide receiver Calvin Austin III. Austin had an eye-opening spring that puts him in position to carve out a role in camp, Kaboly relayed, but the veteran media member followed up that observation with a catch. However, his speed is greatly magnified in situations like OTAs and minicamp, where it's football in shorts, Kaboly wrote. Adding that it's hard to imagine he would be an every-down player at his size, 5'9", 162 pounds, but he should be part of the offensive plan regardless of whether the Steelers acquire another receiver. Austin has faced his fair share of challenges since entering the NFL out of Memphis. After suffering a Lisfranc foot injury during his rookie summer, the quick and elusive pass catcher missed the entire 2022 campaign. Then in year 2, Austin only appeared in 35% of offensive snaps behind current WR1 George Pickens and ex-Steelers Diontae Johnson and Allen Robinson, catching 17 of 30 targets for 180 yards and 1 touchdown. Assuming no late off-season addition occurs at WR, the runway is finally clear for a healthy Austin to make his mark, but he'll have to overcome questions about his size and durability, as Kaboly alluded. One of the biggest Steelers questions heading into training camp involves Austin, as well as every other Pittsburgh receiver not named Pickens. Pickens is the unquestioned number 1 receiver after Diontae Johnson was traded, Kaboly stated within his roster breakdown. Whether he can produce without a legitimate number 2 threat will be a weekly concern, and rightfully so. Kaboly went on to explain that opposing defenses could try and take Pickens out of games by double-teaming him often, adding that it will be interesting to see how the rising star deals with any extra attention mentally. And without an obvious second option behind him, that could turn into a real fear for the Steelers' offense if no one steps up in July and August. Outside of Austin, the top candidates for the role are former Los Angeles Rams second-rounder Van Jefferson, rookie third-rounder Roman Wilson, and former Philadelphia Eagles draft pick Quez Watkins. Pittsburgh also took a couple of veteran flyers on Scotty Miller and Marquez Callaway this offseason. So, is that necessary secondary threat on the current roster? Time will tell, although the Steelers have been suggested as a potential trade suitor for San Francisco 49ers star Brandon Ayuk if all else fails. Not everyone shares the opinion that the Steelers might need another playmaker on the outside. I think it's been overblown a little bit because of the run-first philosophy that they're going to operate with under Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reporter Brian Batko voiced while appearing on 93.7 The Fan's The Joe Starkey Show on July 9. Continuing, the personnel, the way they're set up and built at this moment tells you they're going to lean into handing the ball off a lot to running backs, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. Then, when the Steelers do throw the ball downfield, Batko argued that it's time for the franchise to define Pickens as a number 1 guy. Meaning they need to show faith in him both getting open and coming down with the football in contested catch situations. Given all the intriguing safety net and underneath options including tight end Pat Freiermuth, not to mention a few outside burners like Jefferson, Callaway, and Watkins to stretch the field, perhaps that's enough for Smith to mask any potential lack of talent at wide receiver. Having said that, it will still be crucial for youngsters like Austin and Wilson to keep progressing as the year goes on. That's the real recipe for success in Pittsburgh. First call, Mitch Keller passed over as Tyler Glasnow's all-star replacement, ex-Carolina star praises Diontae Johnson trade. At least one former Carolina Panthers star is pumped about his old team landing ex-Steeler Diontae Johnson in a trade. One of the 3 sons of former Steelers who committed to Notre Dame is already heading elsewhere. Tyler Glasnow is out of the all-star game. Does that mean Pittsburgh's Mitch Keller will replace him? Does that mean Pittsburgh's Paul Skeens is in as the National League starter? We investigate all those topics in Wednesday's First Call. Miss him once he's gone? Many Steelers fans are fretting more about the fact that the team hasn't adequately replaced Deontay Johnson at wide receiver than they are over Johnson actually leaving. Inconsistencies in production over the past 2 years, injuries, some alleged locker room grousing and lack of effort on a play in Cincinnati last year didn't exactly endear Johnson to Steelers supporters. But folks in Charlotte seem happy to have him after Johnson landed there in a trade for Donte Jackson. Panthers radio analyst and former All-Pro linebacker Luke Kuechly was on Up and Adams on Monday. He seems to think Johnson will do well with the Panthers. I think the Deontay Johnson thing is going to be a bigger deal than what we think. Adam Thielen is going to be able to control the slot, the middle of the field, Kuechly said. But you need a guy on third down that can just go get open. They're going to play man coverage. You're going to have inside help. They're going to try to funnel you there. Who can just go straight up win one-on-one man coverage? That's what he does really well. Indeed, Johnson's strongest trait was his route running. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep his emotions in check with the Panthers. Much like the Steelers a year ago, that offense struggled with rookie Bryce Young at quarterback. With Thielen and first-round pick Xavier Legette in the pass-catching mix as well, I wonder if Johnson will get enough completions and big plays to keep himself happy down there. Steelers avoiding reunion at cornerback and bringing in new face still possible after Cam Sutton's suspension. The Pittsburgh Steelers and general manager Omar Khan knew that signing Cameron Sutton to a 1-year contract would likely end up having consequences. The decision was made by the league to hand down an 8-game suspension due to Sutton violating the personal conduct policy. While it still was a smart financial decision to bring in Sutton at the league minimum, he won't be utilized until the final 9 games of the year. This reality immediately caused concern and raised questions about the available options on the free agent market that could be a good fit in the Steel City. The first 2 names that will quickly come to mind for fans and analysts will be Patrick Peterson and Chandon Sullivan. The 2 defenders were with the Steelers in 2023. Peterson is a future Hall of Fame candidate, while Sullivan would bring a good amount of experience back into the locker room while also being familiar with the defensive scheme. If Khan elects to go in a different direction, despite the team's tendency to reunite with players it knows, there are options out there that could provide depth and versatility on defense. It starts with a big name still waiting to sign a contract with an organization for 2024. Xavier Howard signed a 5-year, $90 million contract with the Miami Dolphins in 2022, but he was released following the 2023 campaign. Despite his age, 31, Howard is preparing to enter his 9th professional season. His pedigree, with 4 Pro Bowl appearances and an All-Pro selection, are enough to make him an attractive candidate. The veteran is likely waiting for an injury to occur to take advantage of a starting opportunity, but the suspension of Sutton might be enough to pick up the phone if Khan and the Steelers decide to call. Another possible setback the Steelers face, as well as any other teams looking to sign Howard, however, is his current pending off-the-field allegations. A name that will come up a lot in talks amongst fans in Pittsburgh will be Stephon Gilmore. The former first-round pick, 2012, is 33 years of age, and it would be extremely uncharacteristic for the franchise to make a move to sign him, but nothing has ever been certain with Khan running the show. Gilmore has played for 4 different teams over the same amount of years and will likely sign a 1-year deal whenever he gets his best offer. The experience from Gilmore would be a valuable asset to have in the Steelers' locker room. He's coming off of a 2023 season with the Dallas Cowboys in which he started all 17 games and hauled in 2 interceptions. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Stephon Gilmore? Leave your opinion in the comments.